Howdy, Pelly. All right, blue-red Delver, blue-red Tempo, blue-red Flash, whatever you wanna call it. This is the archetype that had my last open top 8 at the beginning of last year when I was still playing events on occasion. It's just a lot of fun. I like the card Nimble Obstructionist. I like the card Vendilion Clique. Got a lot of tricksy things. We got a couple of cards on the new set. Hiding underneath my Tempo Storm ad here are 4 copies of Fiery Islet. So we've got 4 of those Horizon-style cycle lands, along with 1 Faerie Conclave and 2 Mutavaults as utility lands. Got a couple copies of Force of Negation in here, and then the sideboard doesn't have anything too different. Last time we tried this deck, we played a couple copies of Archmage's Charm, which ended up being a little bit too clunky overall, so I've cut those from this configuration. Hey, Zace, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. If you had fished through time to Blue White Skies, this has become fly fishing, asking the real questions. Yeah, I've got some one-ofs in here. I've got like 1 Spell Snare, 1 Mana Leak, 1 Remand, 1 Cryptic Command, and like these cards are like fine in certain situations and they're bad in a lot of other situations. One of the upsides to having a smattering of various counter magic like that is that Snapcaster Mage gets more value in the late game when you have a variety of things that it can snap back. So these various one-ofs, like this 1 Mana Leak can be 2 with Snapcaster, 2 Remands, 2 Cryptic Commands, etc. Delver of Secret flips into a 3/2 flying creature if you reveal an instant or sorcery off the top of your deck. So for the 28 months, Jace. Hopefully we won't be too disappointed today. Let's give it a shake, shall we? This is fine. One of the things that's a little concerning is that the Jund matchup for this archetype used to be pretty close, but the fact that they now have Ren in 6 probably changes that dynamic a little. Because a lot of our stuff dies to the 1 damage downtick on that card. Hey, pups, welcome back. Yeah, as I like to bring up when people talk about Twitch accounts getting broken into, make sure you have 2-factor authentication enabled on your Twitch. Make sure you have 2-factor on every account you care about. And by that, I mean every non-Wizards account, because it's 2019 and Wizards still hasn't figured out 2-factor authentication. Sweet Genesis. Yeah, I saw that got posted like right before I went to bed last night, so I haven't really dug into it yet. Could be Juntier, could be Pyromancer, could be Green Black Rock. We have 2 pair. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Clique go away. I guess if they have another discard spell and they have like a Bob, they might take the bolts. Yeah, they could have like Scavenging Oozes and Dark Confidants, or just another discard spell to take the second one. Yeah, they looked like they upgraded like tier 3 units basically across the board. Which is a good thing because, oh, you know what? It's possible I'm supposed to play Mutavault here, because if they, like, untap and play a Planeswalker and shoot this, the Mutavault could attack the Planeswalker. Like they play Ren and shoot this, or they play 3-mana Liliana and Edict it, the Mutavault would finish off their thing. The Judgeinator, thank you for the 24 months. That's 2 years, it's a long time. Welcome back. CD Sniper, thanks for re-upping for the 2nd month in a row. Yeah, one of the Underlords updates looks like it like buffed 3-star units across the board, which is good. It'll make getting 3 stars on your 1-cost units a little bit more ideal, as opposed to just like replacing your 1-cost aggressively with 4- and 5-cost units. So I could use this Scalding Tarn as a scry with this Delver trigger. Like, after I look with the Delver trigger, I could use the fetch line to shuffle. However, I'd prefer to get my Shocklands into play tap because they're a Field of Rune deck. I'd like to make sure I keep my basics in my deck, so that way the fields and Assassin's Trophies keep giving me basics for as long as possible. They sped up the first 3 rounds too. Yeah, that's a good change. That is a very positive change. Yeah, the field, and especially the basic swamp, kind of imply that the opponent is playing green-black rock as opposed to Jund, which I think green-black rock is still a very reasonable choice. I like straight green-black. Mana Leak's a bit worse when your opponent knows it's coming, especially if I can't keep pressure in play. All right, well, I guess they're not playing around Mana Leak anytime soon, so we'll just go ahead and leak tracker here so they can't. I could bolt the tracker, but 1, I'd like to get value off this leak. And 2, I'd like to make sure they don't draw cards with that, because if they like have a land to play immediately after this, it guaranteed draws a card by generating a clue. Grim Lavamancer's like not great in this matchup, but it's fine. This matchup's like basically about the last threat standing, so Grim Lavamancer is generally pretty good in that respect. They know about Click Click Bolt. They don't know about this card. Part of me kind of wants to just push my Grim Lavamancer, but I should probably take a peek at what they have going on. I assume this is going to die in response to the trigger. Really, it's not. Okay. I think I'm just taking Fatal Push here. I'm really surprised they didn't field my Mutavault, and then I'm really surprised they didn't field my Mutavault and push my Click. I'm gonna force the issue on the field here. Rock's probably a little bit better matchup for us than Jund would be, and only because of the lack of Ren in 6, but also because they lack things like Lightning Bolt. They lack a little bit of the more efficient removal. Alright, so they know about 1 Bolt and 1 Click here in my hand. They have Bob, Field, and 2 cards we don't know. They had a draw step, and they drew a card when the click targeted them. As you will. We're in a pretty okay spot at the moment. Bob's not super great against us. We've got multiple threats in play. We'll work our way through the bolts, huh? Ways to play against Burn with black-green elves. If you take a peek at the elves page on my website, under the Proven category, there should be a link to a primer on Cool Stuff Inc. It won't be the exact same sidebar, but it should give you a loose idea of like what you're looking to cut, what you're looking to bring in. I think it's basically just Scavenging Ooze with the current configuration. If the burn matchup is one you really care about, I would recommend cutting all the Elves of Deep Shadow and just playing 4 Boreal Druid, because Elves of Deep Shadow plus Nurturing Peatland means you're going to take a lot of damage. I guess I should technically float a mana there. It's whatever. Yeah, honestly, Burgle, Plague Engineer just really feels like another one of the many cards that just like takes Modern and makes it just much more narrow in terms of like which decks can actually be good or not. Morning, Admiral. Yeah, there's definitely, I mean, like, this is modern, right? So there's definitely, like, super narrow cards you can play to, like, get whatever your desired outcome is. So now I have to decide exactly how I want to fight over this Tireless Tracker. Honestly, with the Burst Lightning draw here, I might just not want to fight over the Tireless Tracker. But it's not just good against linear decks, Burgle. It's a card that makes decks like this worse. It's a card that makes decks like Mardu Pyromancer worse. Like, I guess it's good against, like, exactly elves, right? Like, we're gonna make the argument that, like, it's good against elves, and elves is linear, I guess. Is that the hill we're gonna die on? Seems like a crappy hill to die on for me. It's not even that good against humans, and humans isn't a linear deck. Humans is an aggressive deck, but it's incredibly interactive. Sure, I'll give you Thopter Sword, but, like, of the decks you're listing, like, Elves already is a fringe, like, tier 1.5, tier 2 deck. So again, like, my discussion isn't that it's not doing something meaningful. My point would be that it's another one of those cards that, like, focuses the format. It takes decks that are close to being on the inside and pushes them further out. It takes decks that are already struggle to be good enough and says, no, here's another hurdle you have to overcome. You're almost certainly not going to be good enough now. It's not just about killing a 2/2 Burgle. Like, once you add this extra requirement, it's another hoop to jump across. It's another thing to clear. Because, like, take elves, for instance. Okay, my elves deck can kill the 2/2, but I got 3-for-1 when it came into play, right? So it cost me a dismember, and it cost me 3 of my board. Like, the game is over at that point. And again, like, it's fine. It's a fine design. Yeah, they're linear, Burgle, but again, the point wasn't that they were linear. The point that I would like to make is they're decks that already are fringe playable in Modern, and then you add this another hoop for them to jump over to make them even worse. So again, it takes the format and it focuses it, and it removes diversity from it. Because that's what happens as formats get more cards in them, right? Like, less decks become playable. I'm not arguing that the card's not powerful. I'm not arguing that it's, not good against elves. I'm not arguing that, like, it's worse against creature removal. I'm building Sultai Kefnet and paper after I get back from dinner. Nice, Danon. Alright, so we took game 1 against Jund. That's usually a pretty good spot to be. I don't even know if that's true, Tony. There's a lot of creature decks in the format, and it's good in a lot of places. The fact that it has Death Touch means the floor on it is relatively high. Yeah, I agree with Burgle. You should basically have it against every creature deck. It's very, very good. Alp! Thanks for the 10-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, so I think I like to trim Mana Leak because this card often draws dead as these games go long. Remand, Force of Negation, Spell Snare. Counter Magic in general isn't amazing in this matchup, but these are all counter spells that, like, have some longevity in the game, so I think leaving in 1 Force is fine. Spell Snare is pretty good, especially on the draw, tagging their Confidant or Tarmogoyf on our first turn. I think I prefer Abrade to Magma Spray. Neither of these hit Planeswalkers. Being able to kill a slightly bigger Tireless Tracker is appealing, although the efficiency on Magma Spray does have some appeal to it. The opponent's not likely to have any artifacts against us, so I could just Coward Split them. Plague Engineer is a 2/2, right? Yeah, I'm gonna split these. Yeah, I don't know, Burgle. Like, so like, what's your problem with like decks like L's and decks like this, right? Like, I would argue, Burgle, that Plague Engineer suppresses decks that you don't want suppressed, because in my opinion, combo decks that lean into playing creatures are exactly the style of combo decks you want to be good in Modern, because decks where your creature removal is good are the easiest ones to interact with. So I would argue Plague Engineer suppresses decks that you actually want to be good in the format out, because it's targetedly good at decks that want these creatures to be good, while it doesn't do anything against other decks where those types of effects are much less good. Alright, do I just kill this on one? Nah, I probably want to play the Delver, right? This isn't getting protection from instants until 3, so I can kill this next turn. I pulled the Underlord stuff out of my content this week because since I hit Big Boss, I was kind of just getting spent on the game in terms of the balance. If they get the patch out tonight, I might do Underlords tomorrow morning. And, like, the numbers while I stream Underlords aren't good enough for me to, like, invest time into it if I'm not really enjoying the game. Like, streaming things like Underlords, like, loses me followers constantly while I'm streaming it. So, like, it, like, costs me money to do it, basically. Yeah, right? Like, I feel like the decks that you want are pressed out of the format. Oh, this is really unfortunate. Getting kind of punished for not just Burst Lightning here. I assume they're going to take my Burst Lightning. Oh, I guess I can turn Wizard Lightning into Lightning Strike with Mutavault, right? That's what I can do. Making the neutral rounds harder, I think, is a good idea. They're, like, comically easy. So, like, this feels bad that they're, like, taking 2 of my things with this, but in reality, this is a 2-for-2, right? Like, they discarded a Bob and a Collective Brutality, and they took my Wizard Lightning and my Delver Secrets, so this is fine. Morning, Marty. Yeah, I need like an Eidolon. I need like an 04 with Eidolon of Rhetoric's text that I could like discard a green or white card. Yeah, to put into play for free. I don't think you need flash and split second, but just like let me alt cast it. Leyline. Can we get like Leyline of Rulalaw? Hey Burgle, were you watching yesterday? When we Spell Quellered, I was like, we're fine against the Neoform deck, and I Spell Quellered their turn 3 go for it, and they had Pact of Negation. Yeah, it's exactly that. It's underestimated, like, how much people lose just, like, being off for a day. Hey, CDN Sniper, thanks for the tip. I appreciate the support. For Black-White Devotion, be happy to get that one added. So, level up is at sorcery speed. So if my opponent goes to level this up, I can kill it with fire. Hey, Cajun guy. 15 whole months. Good luck in the Phantom Tournament. Played the Fish Through Time deck a few times last night. Felt really good. Awesome. I've been enjoying playing it for sure. Plays the style of Magic that I enjoy playing. Ooh, are they missing a land drop? That would be good for me. Oh, you know what? I wonder if this deck is supposed to have Are there supposed to be some magmatic insights in the 75? There probably are, huh? There should be some magmatics and insights in the 75. That is a new card that could get added to here that I wasn't thinking about. I don't think I want it in the main. Yeah, the sinkholes basically, whatever it's called. Magmatic Sinkhole. Yeah, insight's the discard a land, draw card. You know what I mean? The delve deal 5 card. It kills planeswalkers too, which is sweet. Yes, Bobby. Alright, so I think we're just entering race mode at this point. Another thing to consider, not only does, like, losing, not only do, like, people unfollow when I'm streaming a not Magic game, but, like, there's an opportunity cost, too. So, like, for instance, when I'm streaming Magic, I average gaining, like, 5 to 10 followers per hour. So it's not even just that I'm losing them, it's that I'm also not gaining them from potentially streaming in a different way. Alright, so I think I'm just gonna go tapped Canal, lightning this, fire up Mutavault, smack you. It might be right to forego the Mutavault hit. It might be right to play Scalding Tarn here and, like, flash in Snapcaster Mage this turn. Because, like, if my opponent has a discard spell this turn, I'm pretty sad to lose my last spell over it. Like, I could see it being right to play this and not get this chip shot in. Blue is the color. Glad you're playing sweet decks in the Phantom series. Thanks for the great comment. Thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, there should. What would I cut from the sideboard? Maybe some of these Magma Sprays at this point. There aren't too many graveyard decks anymore. Yep, even another grave. I mean, do I need to ambush Goyf? I feel like, especially maybe now that they played the second one, I want to ambush it. But at the same time, I feel like we're kind of just on the race them plan, right? I don't have a no-fly list. If you want to know if I will play something, submit it using the form on my site, and I'll send you an email back within a day or two letting you know if it's okay to donate for it. It's almost bedtime, but I dropped in to say I'm surprised our red-black goblet yet. It's a toolbox deck full of awful creatures. Sounds like Hoagland to me. So, fun story. If you're watching this and you're someone who's submitted red-black goblins, who I told you this deck is awful and I'm not willing to play it, I've had like a half a dozen people submit red-black goblins. I finally said yes. There is a red-black goblins deck in the queue. We will play it together on stream at some point in the near future. Because when people keep submitting the same pile of garbage, eventually I just cave and say yes, so that way. That way they get off my back about it. Alright, so I think Snapcaster Mage plus Wizard's Lightning with their powers combined, we're going to go ahead and trade for a Tarmogoyf here. Hey, excited to see the burning dumpster fire. It is, yep. Alright, so I think we're doing this. No, I don't want to cycle around. I think I'm trading the Mutavault and the Wizard's Lightning here now. I could have avoided taking 1 extra damage by waiting to fetch. No, pretty much only for new archetypes. So, like, the Goblins deck is effectively a new deck in the format. Yeah, I probably should have just, So you want to let damage happen before you Wizard's Lightning the Tarmogoyf, because if you Wizard Lightning it before damage happens, your opponent has an opportunity to kill the Mutavault, and then you're going to be sad. If they have another 2-mana threat here that I can't remand, I'm going to be sad as well. Alright, so what's the plan here? The plan is to hit them for 3 twice and draw another Lightning Bolt, I think is the line. Don't Abrupt Decay me, just a trophy deal. Okay. Now the trophy does make things a little bit harder, because it means I'm not going to get a second hit in next turn almost certainly. I'm going to 3 from this Tarmogoyf hit. Alright, so we're double bolting this Goyf then. Or we're killing them. Alright. As you will. Thanks, I guess. This deck isn't really a deck, so like a lot of people probably don't realize that this deck is like burn deck adjacent. Like there's four bolts, 4 Wizard's Lightning, 3 Burst Lightnings. We've got a lot of reach in this archetype. In fact, when we were playing this a lot last spring and summer, we referred to this as the thinking person's burn deck. You're like a burn deck that's got like Snapcaster Mages in it and cheeky stuff. We're fancy burn, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really don't understand why they would trophy the first time and not that time. Not quite sure I follow. Not gonna complain, but not quite sure I follow. And that, as we always like to point out, is a fantastic example of why Ancient Ziggurat, why you shouldn't put a whole lot of merit into the actual results of a deck that you're playing. You should focus on how the matches went and the details, not just on the number at the end of the day. I think it's right to just leave the Noble Hierarch here and just like bolt their actual threats. It's a burn deck you could bring home to your parents. Yep, yeah, exactly. Mom and Dad will love this one. Cause I'm free bootin', do do do, boo do do. This matchup's pretty okay. We've got a lot of removal spells. Having double bolt in our opener here is pretty good. That speaking of pretty good. Speaking of pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and just bolt that now so I can go ahead and Delver them. Get in my one shot. How am I supposed to tie my self-worth to my children's card game if I don't take results as evidence of my value? Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to stop on my turn, because if we see a card on top of my deck that I don't want to draw, we'll opt past it. Drawing an opt here is fine, though. They missed a land drop, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm actually going to keep all these ops, because the ops are just, the ops are Grim Lavamancer food. They're a little clunky in general in this matchup, but they feed the Grim Lavamancer, so I think that's fine. Durzablin, thank you for the 12 months of support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. So I'm going to opt here before I Lavamancer. And the reason for this is exactly that. I want to activate this Lava Man and keep a Bolt in my graveyard because we have Snapcasters in our deck. So being able to Snapcaster back Bolt in the future is really valuable. So like, Grim Lavamancer is oppressive in an entirely different way than Plague Engineer, and because it's summoning sick, it has a chance to offer counterplay before it generates any value. I know you're like joking, but I feel like it's valuable. Like, those are the types of comments that people on Reddit will make when you talk about the things with Plague Engineer, right? So I think it's important to be able to address those types of things. You can always tell when I built a deck because boarding popular matchups like humans is really easy. So we cut all 5 of our counter spells and we board in 2 Abrades, 2 Sprays, and the Staticaster. Feels good. There are people on Reddit, Jeff. There are mostly trolls. All right, I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick. I don't have to super rush because it's Moto and I have 20 minutes. Huh? My opponent mulliganed to 6. This hand could just get run over. If I draw any cheap spell in the first 2 draws, I'm pretty happy with this. The awkward part about Wizard Lightning is that it's not a 1-mana play, right? Like, it costs 1 a lot of the time when we cast it. Mutavault's actually a really good draw here, because Mutavault lets me use this as Lightning Strike. You have Mutavault activate itself. That was a good one. Yeah, I tell you, it's a little annoying. We drew a bolt like a professional. To be fair, I have a lot of bolts in my deck. And we have Magma Sprays post board too that are good. I skimmed the notes. I looked at them right like before I went to bed last night. I did not read them super thoroughly. Hey, Jack, thanks for the 14 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. So we'll have this activate itself. This could go a little bit sideways if they have a Reflector Mage, but it's probably fine. So active Mutavault is all creature types, including Wizard, and when we have a Wizard, Wizard's Lightning costs 2 less. So yeah, if the patch goes up tonight, I'm probably gonna play it tomorrow morning. So this has been like a really good example of how you do well in a Magic tournament. So like we're playing against humans now. When I played this deck in the open and I had my absurd undefeated run with it, the reason why I had an absurd undefeated run with it was because in that tournament I played against humans, elves, and spirits. Like I just ate the tribal smorgasbord with my deck with 8 lightning bolts and Grim Lavamancers in it. So I'm going to snap Wizard's Lightning in response here. And the reason why I'm doing it in response to this trigger is because if I don't do it in response and my opponent has a Witch member, they'd be able to dismember my Snapcaster Mage in response to the trigger, denying me having a Wizard in play and the ability to flash back the Wizard Lightning. I think I'm just passing here. Am I? Nah, let's hit them. They've got double Horizon Canopy lands in play. Let's do that. Fire up this and smack them for 4. My Jackal Pups and Mutavault's greatest enemy, the 2/3. Alright, so am I clicking the Lieutenant out of their hand, or am I nimbling the trigger on it? I think I'm just clicking it out of their hand. I think I just want all my 3/1 flyers. Let's actually just take Mantis Rider here, huh? Now they can Mage plus Lieutenant, which might make racing a little dicey. I don't know, I've got a lot of chump blockers. And like, they're gonna take 2 to cast both these cards. So like, Delver's going back from whence it came again. And like, I'm still at 19 and they're at 10. So like, even when they do this and attack me for 4, I'm going to 15. Joke's on you. My Delver wasn't going to flip anyways. 6 land there is great. Got double Nimble Obstructionist next turn for lethal. We haven't drawn any Fiery Islets yet. Fiery Isles, whatever you want to call them. What's this thing called again? We did opt past one, that's true. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. 3 1s. Good example of why we're playing 4 Obstructionists and 2 Clique. Being able to play multiple of these is very valuable. And we're 2-0. 2-0-4-0. Ho. Halfway there. Oh ho. We're playing 2 fair decks in a row. Maybe it'll just be fair deck day. This is good. We're starting the run hots early to get our good luck snowballing by the time we play the fandom tournament with Soul Time. Cast some incoming fish through times. Our Tron matchup's not terrible. I've got 2 rejections in my board, plus some strokes, plus some negates. Got some Force of Negations in my main now too. It seems like not amazing, but it's fine. This is if it's a matchup where Grim Lavamancer has text, we'll probably have a good time. Well, it's kind of awkward because if it's a matchup where Grim has text, the Force probably doesn't have text. Serum Visions could be a variety of things. I mean, this is a blue-red list. Someone asked me to play Blue-Red Delver. This is the list from my website. So I guess yes. Yeah. Not having magmatic sinkholes is a pretty big punt. I'm gonna send this upstairs, and then if we draw another Bolt or a Burst Lightning, we can kill this with a spell plus a Grim activation. That's unfortunate. Hey, Daspiff. Gen Con is coming up very soon. Like 2 weeks. Super close. I think if they cast a Manamorphose here, I'm just going to Force of Negation it. Just like, try to keep them off flipping this for a turn. Lava Dart. Good lord. Life's too short. Remember when I said fringe decks get worse the more cards that are printed into the format? I submit Exhibit C. I didn't concede there because they could flash it back. Obviously, they didn't have any mountains. I conceded there because the combination of Phoenix is coming back and Thing in the Ice is flipping over without having Magmatic Sinkholes in my deck, and darts, all of that gets in a vat and gets mixed well and spits out into we can almost certainly never win. And yeah, I get it. A broken clock's right twice per day. Sometimes you get incredibly lucky and your opponent doesn't get to play Magic and you win anyways, but I've got decks to get to. Usually we don't have enough time to play all the matches with the deck like this anyways because it takes too long, so I'd rather concede the matchups where we're hopelessly behind and try to get to matches that are meaningful that we can actually play reasonably. Spending time sitting there getting beat up is not fun for me. If I had a couple of sinkholes, I think I want to work a couple sinkholes into the board. I don't know what I want to cut though. It's probably just the Staticaster and something else. Maybe it's like Staticaster, Damping Sphere. I don't think I want to cut these sprays or these abrades. Like, having 2 ways to take artifacts off the board seems pretty important. And maybe it's just these 2 for 2 sinkholes. This is like good against creature decks, but like I have 2 Grim Lavamancers in my main deck that are good against creature decks, so I think I'd rather just have a couple of things that can kill larger stuff. That's fine. I'm gonna bottom the Isle. Dispel's for the burn matchup. I think Dispel is fine. Don't you tell me what my cards are for. Dispel's a card for the burn matchup. All right, Jund, do you say? Cycling their peatland on 2. All right, so they've given us the play. I think I'm going to bottom that. I think it's likely to just die. I'm going to go ahead and pass here, I think. Hey, DMS, thanks for the 1.5 years. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Yeah, I don't know if Underlords is going to be in my... I need to figure out if it's going to still be in my regular schedule. I feel like it might end up not being. They already played a land for the turn, right? So it doesn't really matter what I do. Nah, Burn's great. Burn gets to play Eidolon. Burn is super consistent. Burn is super duper consistent. That's always... The appeal of Burn has never been that it races the other linear decks in Modern. The appeal of Burn always has and always will be the fact that... It always has been and always will be the fact that it is super consistent at killing the end of the game by turn 4. Has a lot of the same appeal as Elves does, honestly. Maybe I was supposed to play this turn and cycle it. Yeah, I think I was supposed to play this instead of the island for the turn, and then cycle it off. This is definitely a matchup where our Miser Cryptic Command is really good. Getting that good clean 2-for-1. It's a pretty okay pickup. Got a lot of flyers here to start deploying so we can race the Stormaglyph. think I'm happy with my hand. I do not want them to have an Abrupt Decay. I would like my burbs to live. Live! Alright, so they hit me to 7. I play... I guess if I pay a life off of the Islet, the Isle, I end up taking a turn off their clock. That's unfortunate. So am I trading a Nimble plus a Bolt for one of these Goyfs? I think so. Yep. Oh, you know what? I probably should have cycled in response to that. I could hit a Spell Snare. Hey, Bellum, thanks for the 3/4 of your support. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a good one wherever you're at. All right, and now we have to ask ourselves the ever-important question, whose team is Bob on? They have no cards in their hand, so I think Bob is still on their team. I think Bob is currently on their team. We're winning this race, right? Like, they've got a 3-power guy. I've got 6 power plus a Grim Lavamancer. Morning, dude light. What? Oh, I was like, why on God's green earth would they shock that in? That makes sense. So they're about to gain 3 up to 14. And how many more creatures are left? They can gain 1 more up to 14, and there's 1, 2, 3 more creatures in the other bin. Yikes. Yeah, this might not be beatable. I guess if I draw a Bolt or a Wizard Lightning, I can kill this with Grim Lavamancer. And I've got 2 shots at drawing those. Oh, I think the line here is just send these at their face. They go to 7, they go to 8, they go to 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I think we're dead. Yeah, the fact that they should have eaten my Snapcaster Mage. They should have eaten my Snapcaster Mage sooner. Because now I get to exile it. And they're down a creature. So they're going to 5, and they can go up to 9 here. So now Bolts and Wizard Lightnings kill them now. Burst Lightnings kill them too. So I'm hitting them, assuming their card in hand is a blank, I'm hitting them for 6, putting them to 3, and then Burst Lightning, Wizard Lightning, Burst Lightning, Wizard Lightning, and Lightning Bolt kill them. Everybody says. Alright, and I have a Force of Negation to counter removal spell. Chip in a chair, chip in a chair. And this is again like, if my opponent had been more aggressive with their use of the Scavenging Ooze, I would have certainly lost this game. I guess they can have an Abrupt Decay. They showed us an Abrupt Decay. If they have exactly Abrupt Decay, we're gonna lose. And again, sequencing on my opponent's part here, if they just spend this Lightning Bolt on their turn, instead of letting me untap with my Force of Negation, we certainly lose this game, but they didn't, so here we are. Someone called police. There's been a robbery. Yeah, cast, don't be afraid to cast your instance on your turn. It's one of the really, really, like, it's one of those really big level up moments in Magic when you realize that, like, it's okay to cast my instance on my turn. Was I just dead if they bolted the Lavamancer? Technically no, because I could Force of Negation it. So what you're saying is Addendum is a good mechanic. I mean, Addendum is kind of a way to teach people how to play good Magic in a roundabout sort of way. Yeah, you just kind of get locked yourself into those, like, usual play patterns, Marty. That, like, when you hit the corner cases where it's bad to do the usual play pattern, you, like, autopilot into making a bad play. That's essentially what happens. This is our first isle on one hand, but it's definitely keepable. Spirebluff Canal. Yep. Yep. Well, at least we only got 2 for 1 by it. Now there's a 4-5. This game's probably over. Right on time, Spell Snare. Welcome to the party. All right, let's 2 for 1 this. Yeah, Renin 6 has definitely become a format staple. We got 2 of him in the Jund Get Rog deck we're going to play up next. Just blasting our way through. They ate our lightning bolt, sure. Mutavault's so good. Thank you, Spell Snare. Maybe this deck wants more Spell Snares in it. I could see that being a reasonable conclusion. Could be an okay adjustment for helping the Jund and green-black matchup. Spell Snare's just like one of your best cards in this matchup. So, when they edict me here, I think I'm sacrificing the Mutavault. Each player discards a card. All right. Oh, I didn't need to do that. I'm dumb. I already had a wizard. It doesn't matter. It didn't cost me anything. So this is a way we can catch back up on this card disadvantage that we've been 2-for-1ing. So like we basically just got them to take a card away from themselves, right? And now we're killing this Liliana without spending a card to do so. So, like, now I've got a Mutavault and this Vendilion Clique and the Grim Lavamancer to their 3 cards in hand. Hey, Paulad, thank you for the 5 months of support. Spectral Sailor replacing Delver in this deck would be interesting. Flood Protection. Sailor's not a wizard, right? D-Ranger, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Let's take this Tarmogoyf that's going to 2-for-1 me out of their hand. Yeah, I think Tarmogoyf's better than Bloodbraid, honestly. Hopefully the Bloodbraid finds Inquisition or Kozilek's Inquisition or Thoughtseize here. I think I'd rather they cast BBE than Goyf. Oh, famous last words. It's pretty bad for us regardless. This at least, like, I think this is still better, right? Because I can, like, bolt this and attack this. Hot take. I'd rather play against Deathrite Shaman than this card. Is that take 2 piping hot? That take might be 2 piping hot. Because my deck full of removal spells is much better against a creature that has summoning sickness than a planeswalker that kills my thing every turn. Yep. Alright, there's a Mutavault. I mean, like, this game's, like, really close when you consider the fact that, like, we got 2-for-1 3 times in the first 4 turns, and then, like, we had 2 Fiery Isles, our 2 lands that dealt, like, 6 or 7 points of damage to us. We're probably gonna die. We'll get to play the next game on the play, but this game was a lot closer than the first 3 turns implied it was likely going to end up being. Magmatic, whatever it's called, and, Magmatic, whatever it's called, and, another Spell Snare, probably a must. Maybe they're just gonna flood out and die. That would be nice. Maybe they'll just draw lands the next 3 turns, and I'll slowly kill them with Mutavaults. He's dead, Jim. You've killed him. It's gonna be one of those games where we thread it really close through to the end, and then they're gonna draw a lightning bolt the turn before we kill them. That's how these games go. It is worth noting the fact that I was able to cash in 2 of my lands for card draws this game ended up being super relevant, right? Like, they dealt a lot of damage to me early, but the reason why I'm in this game is because those lands turned into spells. All right, one more brick. Yeah, Mutavault just like... Mutavault is always, like, the silent MVP of this archetype. It's really, really good. Alright, one more brick and they're dead. They have plenty of draws that kill us here, so... What's the word? If we win this game, it's definitely because of the Isles. Like, not close. Alright, you have a removal spell from Mutavault? Because you didn't last turn. Wow. That was, Alright, yeah, I mean, we're definitely at least a couple cards wrong, based on green-black being more popular, but the matchup's always been close. We played through 2 Remand 6s there, and the Plague Engineer. Opponent flooded a little bit, but, like, if you think about it, so, like, the opponent showing... Let's think about this for a second. So, like, the opponent showing us they had a land, right? So they drew... 1, 2, 3. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lands, and Remand 6 picked 2 lands back up for them. So they only drew 7 lands, right? They drew 7 lands. How many lands did we draw? We drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on this Mutavault, 8, 9. We drew 2 more lands than they did this game. And our deck has 34 cards in it, and their deck has 36 cards. So we actually drew 2 more lands than they did in that game, and we ended up winning anyways. That game, to me, really highlights the power of these 4 Isles, in my mind. Yeah, exactly. Like, our lands did stuff, right? Like, our deck's playing 23 lands, but 7 of them are spell lands. We've got 2 Mutavaults, 4 Isles, and a Conclave. So, like... in these games that go long, where both players inevitably are going to draw lands, having more spell lands is really valuable. The 0-1 loss was to Phoenix, because I didn't feel like getting Lava Darted. and we're playing 2 fair decks this morning. Like this, even with the 0-1 concession, we've been playing this for an hour and 10 minutes. So 4 matches is about an hour and a half. The old lawn darts. Yep. It's not a good scene for the home team. I mean, we've played against like 2 green, black, or Jund decks in basically every one of the last 3 or 4 leagues. Like, Dark type's incredibly popular again. What's old is new? They got a lot of good tools. It's another humans matchup. Okay, so turn 1 Fiery Isle. Not amazing in the aggro matchup, but Grim Lavamancer, pretty amazing. So hopefully we draw a fetch land and get to take him to Pound Town here. Can you get away with playing off-color blue fetches? I was like, yeah, definitely. If you wanna like take the Scalding Tarns and turn them into like 3 more deltas and like a random red fetch, that's almost certainly fine. I'm gonna attack with this because if they want to I don't really have a good way to start using this soon. So if they want to trade Champion of the Parish for this, I think I'm actually okay with that. Morning, Jerry. Reflector Mage, sure. Since that's my only spell. Yeah, we talked about the Isles being really good last game. This is an example of a spot where they're a little less ideal, right? Like they're going to deal a lot of damage to us. I can't recast the Grim this turn because of how Reflector Mage works. I think I'm actually just cycling this because hitting a red source that doesn't hurt me seems like it's going to be pretty important here. Think of Blue-Black Delver in Modern. Blue-Black Delver is not really a deck in Modern. So when you say, what do you think of Blue-Black Delver? I can't envision a deck list because it's not really an established archetype. My number 1 question for if you were trying to approach a Blue-Black Delver is, why would you not want Reach in the form of Lightning Bolt in your tempo deck? And why is your deck better than just playing Grixis Shadow if you want to play a Blue-Black style deck? It's not even just about the removal being cheap, because, like, Fatal Push is a fine, cheap removal spell. It's the fact that your removal spells aren't flexible. Like, the fact that Lightning Bolt can go upstairs is a really big deal. Maybe I don't cycle the Isle this turn, and I want a Grim plus Snap Burst. I probably want a Grim plus Snap Burst, huh? Yeah, that's probably what I want to do. I don't know. I think my line's still good. If they have a 2-drop in their hand, I'm going to get blown out here. But if the Champion of the Parish gets bigger than a 2-2, I don't have enough food to activate the Grim Lavamancer. So I think I just got to go for this here. If they had a 2, they could have proactively put it into play last turn to play around this. concede this game. We just didn't have enough removal spells on the draw, and our mana base was a little bit too painful. Yeah, killing Planeswalkers is super relevant too. That flexibility is not just about sending damage to the dome, it's about a variety of things. Same way we boarded last time. Cut the counter spells, bring in more ways to kill things. This matchup's not a free win by any means, because Humans is a very good deck, but it is definitely a favorable matchup when we have a reasonable mix of things. That's one of the tough parts about playing an interactive deck like this, is there's going to be a lot of game ones where like you keep a hand that's like good against one thing, and then your opponent's playing something else, and you end up in a bad spot. Yeah, this hand's great. Needs a third land, but we've got a lot of those in 4 up, so hopefully we'll be able to get there. Check out some solid options here. Bottom the bolt there, looking for a land for the Staticaster. Let's do this now before this gets to 2 and can do trickery with Thalia's Lieutenant. One of the sweet things about Staticaster 2 is even when there's not a 1 toughness thing to kill, Staticaster allows you to like upgrade your 3 damage things into killing 4 toughness things, which is great. Yeah, Troll Warlord becoming a 5 is probably reasonable. They have 2 Thalia's Lieutenants. Nope, not quite. Lightning Bolt. Named the wrong one. Yeah, a big part of why I top-8'd the open I top-8'd with this was because of the volume of tribal decks present at that tournament. I'm gonna go ahead and Wizard Lightning the Thalia's Lieutenant now, just so Aether Vial shenanigans doesn't end up happening. Should I snap? Should I snap Wizard Lightning this? Yeah, I think I should. Let's just do that. For the same reason. I don't want to like go to snap Lightning it inside of combat and like have my opponent like violate a Lieutenant in response. The first 2 Pauper videos have been doing well. It's tough to gauge interest off just the first 2 though. Because, like, the Underlords content had a really good response for the first couple, and then, like, people kind of had some apathy from it, and, like, the numbers dropped off as I did more of it. So it's gonna be more of a wait-and-see type thing. I plan to do 5 decks, like I said, and then look at how all 5 decks do as a whole. We're big on data around these parts. Like to make sure we use it accurately. Yeah, early views tend to be novelty-based. The question is the longevity. Nah, the limited content's just not very popular, Socio Penguin. Much like Underlords, the first one did well, but then like the 3 drafts we did during the event were not very well viewed. And there's a lot of people that do a lot of good limited content out there. So I'm not really sure that I need to add more to it. Have a damage. Here's a thought that might be crazy. So tell me if this is crazy. Do I click myself and get rid of the Staticaster? Because Staticasters kind of hit a point of diminishing returns, right? What cards does Staticaster lock them off of? I guess it locks them off of Lieutenant, Thalia. You think Staticaster's better than a random spell? Alright. It kills Phantasmal too. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, we'll keep the Staticaster. Let's take a peek at their hand. We're conceding to Vendilion Clique. Oh, alright, sure, I guess. Sure. Didn't even have to make that decision. Yeah, so part of the problem with that too, Pelly, is that if you spam lots of videos on YouTube, YouTube punishes you with their algorithm, and I already get punished a little bit for the amount of videos that I publish. So I don't really want to post more. Also, people who are primarily subscribed to my YouTube channel for Magic content are more likely to unsub if they're getting spammed with a lot of Underlords videos, whereas like 1 or 2 on occasion is not really a big deal. Lobinsky, thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub there. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday wherever you are. Welcome to Hoaglandia. I have 3 lands already, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep that bolt. Yeah, and pretty big fan of just, like, casting these at sorcery speed to not get blown out by Aether Vial tricks. I think it's YouTube technically, like, less than 5, which I'm usually over the 5 line, just with, like, my normal series of stuff, how I normally post. Punished for spending the Burst Lightning first. Huh? That was a good draw, huh? This is how you 4-1 a league, chat. Hopefully, knock on wood. This one's for all the play points and treasure chests. We're 3-1, right? Yeah, we're 3-1 with the 1 being a concession. Yeah, having a bunch of bolts in your deck is good. Kill it with the fire. Kill it with the fire. Pew pew, pew pew. I conceded to Blue-Red Phoenix because I forgot to put Magmatic Sinkholes in my 75 and we were getting lava darted. That was kind of off it. I think I'd rather have a 3-1. I don't know. It draws a card when I cycle it. Like, if I let the Grim Lavamancer get bounced back to my hand, it's not being activated for 2 turn cycles, right? Because it's not getting activated next. I can't cast it next turn. I cast it's 3 turn cycles. Yeah, I think I'm cycling the bird. Like this card locks down a lot of their deck. I've got a lot of cards in my bin for it. This puts another card in my bin for it. Cast a Phantasmal Image. Yeah, that's what I thought. Get out of here. Bye, Felicia. You can have a Grim Lavamancer. My Grim's gonna kill your Grim. Opting into Opt is more food for my Grim Lavamancer, so pretty happy with that. I mean, Clique's a medium magic card, but like, it's very playable. As long as there are fair blue decks in Modern, it's gonna see play. And if you ever think you might dip into Legacy, Clique sees play there too. Those are really good last 3 cards to have. They named Snapcaster with this. Yikes. It's a good thing I brought my Burst Lightning. Meddling Mage is not very good against our deck, just because we have so many differently named things. Like, they're out of cards in hand now. So, like, they have, like, Reflector Mage and these lands versus, like, my Delver, my Stat, my Mutavault, and the Grim Lavamancer that they know about. You're at the very tail end, Tyler. It's been a good set of games. We played 2 really great matches against Green, Black, and Jund. A lot of really tight races and close lines. Alright, that's a Mantis Rider. Hopefully this Delver flips to a Bolt. Going to 12. That was, they had some pretty good series of hits here. Any flip is fine here. No. I mean, as far as, like, non-hits go, Clique is, like, pretty good, because it lets me trade here. Suppose maybe I should click them here. If they had a... If they had a Thalia's Lieutenant, I might have been sad. Apparently, my opponent is obligated to concede every time Vendilion Clique is placed on the stack. That card is actually factually just unbeatable for this opponent. I'm not quite sure I fully understand, but here we are. All right, so what would I do? What would I do different next time we play this? Let's shuffle some stuff around here. So gonna cut this negate from the board and put the second Force of Negation on the board. I want another Spell Snare in the main just because it's the best card in your deck against green-black, and it's also, like, fine against blue-white control. Yeah, Magmatic. I want some Magmatic Sinkholes in my 75. Probably 2. This Damping Sphere seems less than ideal. Maybe I leave this other Force of Negation in the main and, like, trim a burn spell. I can see that. I'm on 11 burn spells in this. I also just only play 1 Force of Negation in the 75. If I'm going up to 6 removals in the sideboard, though, I probably don't need this many main. Is probably the case. Just, like, trim a Burst Lightning. That's probably reasonable. 2 Snare, 2 Force, a Cryptic, a Leak, a Remand, and then... So, like, then against creature decks, we sideboard out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the Cryptic and bring in these 7 pieces of removal. That doesn't seem unreasonable. Yeah, this card's just, like, a good addition to the format, and it had slipped my mind when I was putting this 75 together. The Fiery Isles were real good. Your matchup against Jund gets a lot better when you have a lot of lands that you can cycle out, so I was really happy with their inclusion. Speaking of Jund, let's roll along to our next deck of the day.